Welcome to today's webcast from MidVision. Today we'll be covering the art of .NET deployment automation. My name is Helen Beale. I'm the Head of Marketing and Sales here at MidVision, and today I'm accompanied by Karoli.
Hi, Karol Szewski. I'm the lead developer on .NET plugin project, and I'm going to show you an overview of our software and then a quick demonstration about the plugin.
We have 5 minutes for this webcast today, so we're going to begin by talking about why some of our customers do deployment automation and then specific challenges and insights around .NET. And then Karoli says he's going to talk you through how Rapid Deploy fits together, the .NET plugin itself, and then he's going to do a demonstration for you. Let's talk a bit about why people embrace application release automation, the kind of drivers that we see in the marketplace. First of all, we see customers and organisations on a kind of maturity scale out there. So at the bottom level, we see people that are doing absolutely everything manually. At the next level, we see people that have some scripts that they've written themselves. Some people have lots and lots of scripts, and some people have even built a tool around their scripts, a tool that allows them to do things like create templates, perhaps provide self-service capabilities to other members of their organisation. And then at the top level, we see the vendor-managed tools, so tools such as our own Rapid Deploy. And the reason we put these at the top of the maturity scale is because we're continuously developing them, and we have multiple customers that are inputting into our product development roadmap. So move off scripts. Why stop doing things manually? Well, the kind of benefits that our customers are seeing by implementing a tool is they're seeing huge productivity improvements as the speed to market and the speed of their releases improves as they take out these manual steps. Additionally, things go wrong much less when you're not using scripts, so it's a lot easier to, first of all, you don't have things break so often, but it's also a lot easier to fix things if they do go wrong. So on the occasion that unauthorized change might be implemented into a production environment and cause it to fail, it's very easy using a tool like ours to do things like snapshot and compare and see where the fault lies and figure out how to fix it. Additionally, these manual and script-based tasks are often quite tedious, whereas the resources that have built scripts are often very talented, so it's good to be able to release these talented resources to do other jobs within the organisation. It's also good for their personal motivation. And one of the other big things that we see is around audit and compliance. So having a tool like ours or the other vendor-managed tools out here means that you can record everything that happens in your system, when it happened and who made the change. And that means that when it comes to compliance and auditability, you have some advantages. So the slide here is from Hurwitz's report from a couple of years ago. And what we have here is the benefits that people are seeing and the kind of size of the benefits that people are seeing from the automation that they've implemented in their environment. So as I just said, the increased speed is a really, really big one, and the increase in the frequency, so the overall productivity advantages are massive. As I also said, the reduction in software errors are quite key too. This slide is also from the same report, and this one talks about why people chose to automate the deployment process in the first place. And what we often see with our customers is that they often find it difficult to put together an automation project that stands alone, but when they have other projects, things like building a platform as a service or a PaaS, and perhaps re-architecting an environment to a new platform, moving off premium products like WebSphere to JBoss or open source environments, those kind of things often trigger the move to implement an automation tool for application release management. The reasons people are doing this are productivity, reliability, reduction in costs around the developer and operations environments, and also the reduction of risk. I've been working with several IIS customers for some time now, and there's a number of patterns that we've noticed. Most of our IIS customers are now on either version 6 or version 7. Version 5 is now out of support. Version 8 was released in October of last year. We know that the move from version 6 to 7 is slightly complicated, and Karoli will talk about that in a moment. And we also know that a few customers that remain on 5 need to move off 5 and may choose to go straight to 8, and that may cause them some challenges as well. Tell us a little bit more about the support and migration and upgrade processes around IIS, please.
So as you see, major percent of the IIS sites runs under version 6, and as it is the oldest support version, sooner or later it will be out of support as well. And all the newer versions have better performance and more features, so it's worth thinking about to migrate to an upper version of IIS. Migrating from version 6 to 7 can be painful sometimes, because the way of the configuration is stored has changed. So it often causes difficulties if you are trying to do it manually or with not the right tools, and you might have to manually reconfigure your whole site. So using version 8, it is shipped with Windows Server 2012 and with Windows 8. It's input resource management, which is called real CPU throttling. Means the system resource management done in the IIS server itself and separately. I give an example. So in version 7, if you have a very busy website in a server, if you reach the CPU threshold, it will shut it down for a while to protect the other site. So to configure a Windows System Resource Manager, additionally to keep the site running continuously. As 8, it is done by the IIS itself, so it is easier to configure. And those are many improvements around SSLs. It's scalable and manageable, and there is a lazy initialization module for SSL certifications. So that means they will only be loaded on the servers when they are required. And there is a central storage for SSL certifications. So it will be stored on the central storage and not on each servers. And other very useful features like dynamic IP restrictions, and also for FTP sites called FTP logon restrictions. There's an improved application initialization module which makes the startup faster, and also supports WebSockets. So you can see the features it's very useful when you have a server with thousands of sites. And with deploy, we support all versions above 6, including the migration and the server management. So next I will show an overview of our software architecture. Deploy has a plugin framework, which means the core application framework which manages the environment and the configuration and the users, and manages the deployments as well. And it should be a common set of common tasks, including database tasks and script runner tasks and Python management tasks. So everything can be used commonly. We have soft plugins which the core framework can integrate with. But I'll show these on the next slide with more details. So as you can see, the core is responsible for environment management and integrates with services. And so it's responsible for installation and patching, configuration management, application deployment, to scale these deployments and build the workflows, often to visualize environments and create snapshots and compare these snapshots and template these environments, and also to import environments or discover physically. And this core can integrate with several products. We have 5 groups of plugins. The toolchain plugins enables integration with build engines, artifact repositories, and source control management tools. Transport plugins allow us to use SSH or remote agents. So basically, it makes the connection between the server and the targets. plugins enables connection to different middle products like servers and databases, applications. We support vendors like IBM, Apache, Microsoft, Oracle, and many others. CloudKings enables to connect and deploy to instances. We support AWS. The business intelligence plugins are basically utility tools for the core, including reporting, tool and comparison functionality and other things. And all these plugins are shipped with commonly used tasks and with results apps. Okay, on the next slide, you can see how developer and operations team can effectively collaborate by rapid deploy. So these two teams often learn each other or have conflicts because developers bring innovation as they are innovation in the application, and operations team are responsible for the
stability.
For the stability of the and have conflicts. And rapid deploy, you can see the developers can manage their code by the toolchain plugins, source control manager tools, builds, and a set of software libraries. Manage it in rapid deploy, and then operations team manage their targets in rapid deploy also. They install and configure it, and a deploy package can be built from the application and all configuration, and then these deployment packages can be deployed to different products. And we support Microsoft, Oracle, JBoss, got IBM, and other software vendors as well. So on the slide, you can see continuous delivery and support this process from the early development stage to the final production stage. So the application developed and then built, and then it gets deployed to different environments. So first it gets deployed to a testing environment where quality assurance is done on the application. Then it goes to staging environment where again some testing is done, and then it goes to live to the production environment. And the steps, it should a model-driven deployment done. So that means exactly the same resources and the same configuration should be deployed the same way to each environment to result the same. But that's exactly what rapid deploy does. So you specify what resources should it deploy and with what configuration, and then you can deploy to each managed environment with the same result. So now take a look at the .NET specific aspect of content delivery. On the left, you can see if you deploy your application manually, you have to do deployment and the configuration on each environment, and it's very time consuming. Also, it requires key IT members to do the deployment and configuration, and though an error can occur anytime, so like in configuration, it is too easy to make a mistake. It is often makes the production to have some errors and more downtime than it would necessary. But to deploy, you can see at the first you configure your application, and then to each other environment it gets synchronized, so it means the same content and the same configuration will exist on each environment, so to make the deployment to production go smoothly and errors will occur. So here on the next slide, here more features of .NET plugin. So we install IIS itself, and we can also install WebDeploy 3, which is a utility tool for IIS, and we can deploy websites and other server objects by install shared MSI packages, and we can also manage these sites by creating, updating, or deleting sites, and also start and stop sites. We'll be able to synchronize with the same versions of IIS, and this synchronization is very flexible because you can choose to synchronize content only or configuration only, and you can also synchronize the pending server objects like application pools or certifications, and migrate version 6 to any upper version with the same flexibility, and you can back up any subject locally or remotely, and also you can restore these snapshots also remotely. So very powerful tool to manage your IIS environment. Next, we'll do a demonstration. There is a lot of things I have previously configured to save time. I have two running in AWS Cloud. Both of them has IIS 7.5 installed on them, and also our rapid deploy remote agent is running and listening on them. And I will do, as a step, I will install WebDeploy 3, and also I will open a firewall for deploy remote agent. Then I will deploy a test website by installing an install shared MSI package, and then synchronize this website to the second server. And the second step, I will make some configuration changes on the first server. Then I will synchronize it to the second server, and then I will show you when something goes wrong during the synchronization. So I will make a website on the first server, and I will synchronize this to the second server to override existing running site, and then I will restore the previous working state of the on server 2. See how to restore after some. Share my screen. Okay, so here you can see rapid deploy server. Go through the configuration. So I have to. Okay. This server is running now local on my machine. Naturally, it could be run anywhere. So first, I'll show you the project, which I have also previously configured for this demonstration. So you can see here the general settings of the project. You can see the orchestration here. You can specify here which tasks to run. I will return here later. First, I will go quickly the configuration, so you can specify the source code manager tool and artifact repository. For both, I set 5 for now, and also specify a build tool. And for project, I chose IIS. This project, I've created 2 environments. You see, this is server 1 and server 2, and if I click on server, you can see further information about the server. You can see the general information like hostname, display. Specify the transport plugin. Now use remote agent. There's the settings for it, and also I use cloud plugin, so it is deployed to AWS cloud. Here you can check the properties of the server. So I go back to orchestration to set my task. You can set for set of tasks like this generic tasks or execution or corner tasks. IIS section for the plugin related tasks. Also picked the task I need previously, so I will do an install by 3 task, and here you can see I have to specify the install package for the installation process, and also the port, the path where to listen this remote agent. I will open a firewall port, and I will also install the installed MSI package, for which I have to also specify the path of the installer. This path comes from the file system, so under my project folder I have a setup folder, and I've copied here both of my installer packages. So now I have to build a deployment package. It will contain all these resources under my project folder. So I have to I built this package for this deployment, so I don't have to build one. So this 3 contains both my installer files and the necessary configuration. So now I will run this job with this deployment package. Server 1. You can set a lot of here. Use the version, deployment package to run as user. You can schedule your deployment to run regularly, like every day or week, month, yearly. There's lots of options. Now and you can also compare your deployment packages. I'll run with the default settings because I want to just run immediately. So now you can see it is deploying to server 1. I can check the logs by clicking here and see what's going on the server. So basically it is now copying over the deployment package to the server. In the initialization task, it will zip it to a temporary working directory and will do a search and replace. I use some parameters, and then we'll continue with the tasks I specified. Sorry. And then the finalization task, it will clean up all the sources from a temporary working directory, so it will not use any files which are not necessary. It's just copying there. As it's working, while it is working, I will show you that previous jobs panel here, where you check the jobs and on which environment it was running on, and who was the deployer, the time, and of course the status, what's the outcome, and then check the logs. If you want, you can replay the job. Still working. It's still copying the package. So you can take a look at the scheduled jobs I've showed you on the deployment resource. So if you have some jobs scheduled for a later time, you can see them here. And you can also reschedule them or cancel if they are not necessary. And among deployments, you can always sort on these columns just by typing right. Seems to be very big, this deployment file, so I just check why it is. My network is very slow, and that's why it is still ping. AWS network is slow. Okay, but it is working. I will show you our orchestration task. You automate any process you want by it. For example, you can run command tasks, have generic database tasks, so you just need to run jar them and then make any queries or any scripts on the database you want. And there is also some Windows specific tasks, like you can run a PowerShell script, you can set random variables, you can shut down if you want. And also you can open firewall, programmer for a port. Windows binary contains just one task, MSI package installer task, which silently install an MSI package. And of course there are many other tasks. Some tasks. Okay, let's get back to the jobs. So it's still working. Inspect the logs again. Skipping over the sources. Now skipping the deployment file and the depend jar files. Then in the installation task, we'll unzip the and do search and replace if any filters are set, and then it will go through the tasks, realization task. It will clean up the files. It will not leave any unused and unnecessary files in the target file system. The previous panel, you can always check the previous deployment, what was the status of them and on which environment it was running on and who is the deployer, the date of the deployment, and you can download log file and also replay the deployment. I'll check this again. It is installing Web Deploy 3 and open the firewall remotely and all the website. Okay, it's finished. So now to server 1 and see, I refresh the site here. There is a running site here called Magento Photoblog, which is an open source blog application written in ASP.NET. So I have to prove that it works. For the first, sometimes it takes a while to start up. See, I empty a server on the second server. Okay, so here it is. It works. And I will synchronize this site to the second server. Orchestration. I'll do a synchronized task. I uncheck these. Enable this task. I specify site would I like to synchronize from source machine, and then the site on the target machine. Use environment variables, which I will show you just in a minute. And I found a backup because there is nothing on the target yet, and I enable all these options which make to synchronize the application pool as well and certificate content framework config and ADP certifications. And now delete target sources option is for not to delete targets on it. Of course, sometimes it is not good because it will make the two machines inconsistent. And those values which you could see coming from here for environment, I specified that generally I appear the hostname, the username and password for server 2. The deployment will go there. Now I run a new job. Again, server 1. I'll just skip finish because I leave everything as default, just like the first time. Now deployment should be much further than the first time because it is not copying over the deployment package as it is the same like the first time. And now it is doing the synchronization. The logs that the deploy tool is working and copying over sources. Finished. I'm on server 2. Refresh the site. You see the site is running on server 2 as well. Just to prove here as well, I will open it in the browser. Okay, it's opening. I will go on the next task. So I will go to server 1 and I will edit the bindings. I add another port to listen on, HPS, within Amazon certificate, and will run on this port. Okay, it's already running that port. We try this port. Okay. The site is now running on 2 ports. This is an HTTPS with an untrusted security certificate. Now we will this change to server 2. You can server 2 the site link. Go back to orchestration and make a little change. Basically, I will do the same synchronized task again. I just want to do a backup on the target before synchronization, just in case not to do something wrong, and to be able to restore previous state every time. So I again on server 1. And this shouldn't take long, because now just one configuration will be synchronized. And of course not a big change, but consider when you do loads of configuration changes, that's still just one synchronized task. Get the same configuration on the touch machine, which is very fast already done. So now refresh this site, and okay, it's refreshed. You can see it is listening on HPS port as well. Also, if I go to bindings, check this by edit, you can see 2 certifications. One is the built-in Amazon certification. The other one is from server 1. So it was copying over the certification. By the certification config extension, which I've set in the sync task. So this is responsible for copying over the certification. Now I will write on server 1. We'll call it Magento, and it will point to the default IIS directory. So it basically just display an image. And I will synchronize this M side to server 2. So as you can see, it will overwrite the running site on server 2. So I select this and run the job again on server 1. Now it is going with 2 tasks. So a new site is already done, and it is sending to the other server. A little slower because it had to copy the sources. factory structure. So now you can see I have two sets here, and this is basically just the default IIS website. You go to server 2, refresh it, and you can see it was overwritten. And this is not what we want. So we'll go back to my orchestration and restore the site on server 2. Synchronize to the backup target flag and the backup path. So on the target there is a backup of the previous state of the website. So I can just say that I have restore snapshot task, which will run on server 2, and it will the website from this deal. And I also do it remotely, because I can specify host username and password, but I need this now. So now I go to jobs and I run this on server 2. This time it has to be again the deployment package, because it's not on server 2 yet. So it will take a little while. Now it's copying the deployment package. You see in the logs. And do basically the same process in server 1. Feature to these environment variables, because for each synchronized task you will need the hostname, username and password for the other servers. It is good to keep them in this data dictionary. Check the job. Executing the tasks, which is already completed. So now I will check site. IIS is properly refreshing, so you can see it is again running on 2 ports, and it is run properly. For the demonstration, you could use that I've installed and opened the firewall for it on server 1. Then I've installed a test application on server 1, and it was synchronized to server 2. Then I made some configuration changes on 1 and synchronized it to server 2. And then I've done a bad synchronization, which made the site on server 2 not run more. Then I restored the previous of the website on server 2. So that was the demonstration. Thank you for watching. Feel free to ask any questions.
Thanks, Carolee. Just to say before we hang up today, thanks very much for attending. If you'd like to know some more, or if you'd like a free trial, do email me at helen.beale@midvision.com or visit our website at midvision.com. Thanks very much again for your time.